Thank you very much, Don. It's an extraordinarily family legacy. We just heard Don recount of his own family. It's an extraordinary story of family legacy here at Rotary. So it's a great lead in to today's main speaker also, because this is an extraordinarily family legacy. We start with the numbers: 112 years, 244 stores, 33 states, fourth generation leadership. John Nordstrom started Nordstrom in 1901 in downtown Seattle. And today the family still leads that store and has expanded, of course, well beyond that small shoe store. Erik Nordstrom is president of stores and will talk to us about the new world of retailing, bricks and mortar as well as online. Nordstrom competes with Bloomingdale's, Saks, and Lord & Taylor for that upscale fashion niche. However, it holds the gold standard and sets the gold standard for all of industry in its customer service. There are many legendary stories, and Erik may well have lots of those at his fingertips to tell us. There were the first and only rule that was in the employee handbook. It continues to today, I believe. It's Nordstrom rules. Rule number 1, use best judgment in all situations. There will be no additional rules. However, retailing rules are being rewritten, so today Erik will tell us just where Nordstrom is headed. Erik Nordstrom.
Well, thank you. That's a better introduction than I deserve. I've been very excited to come and speak to your group for all sorts of reasons. And then realized it's 9/11, okay, I'll be a little more serious. And I see my dad today, and he says he's showing up. I figured I could, not too many retailers here. I was glad to hear on that stat that there's not many retailers here, so I could blow by some information by you guys. But my dad knows more about retail than, well, I don't know. Maybe if I keep at it a few more years, I'll catch up. But it's great to be here, and then to follow Don is just terrific, and applaud you and your family, and I certainly applaud your organization. It's an honor to be here, and you know, as was introduced, our family goes back a long ways, and we have a lot of pride in the town we live in, and think it's a pretty great place to live. And one of the reasons is certainly your group. You've made this a better place, and then to hear how you make the impact on the world is terrific. And I should say, my how I got here actually wasn't was a bit indirect. It was actually through my involvement with Junior Achievement. So we had our board meeting this morning, and I was given one instruction to give them a plug. So Junior Achievement is great. All right. So I've been in this business a long time, and I was asked coming this morning from my old co-workers what year I started. I had to think about it. It was 1976. And if you're looking at me wondering how old I am 49. So I was 12 when we started, and some of you that may not be a big deal. I didn't have a lot of my friends who were working at age 12. And you may ask, why was working? And it wasn't that my dad forced us to work at the store when we were 12. My dad's deal was, if you wanted to live at home, you needed to work. And I liked our house, so it was to the stockroom, and I've been doing a long time, had a lot of different jobs, and I will tell you, the times we're in now are the most exciting that I've been part of. Excitement tends to bring some scary parts to it too, and I think that's accurately describes it. It's a time of great change. That sounds a bit cliche, but certainly for our business, there's change, there's opportunities that come with that. So I'll try to touch on what that means for us, what we're working on. We are a public company. We've been a public company for I guess about 40 years now, and so we deal with the investment community, and we have a couple people who are in charge of our investor relations, and they have to explain what we're doing. And some of you, I think, know different family members. We're different people, but I think there's some common, probably Scandinavian traits in there that we don't talk a lot about ourselves in particular. So it's a horrible job our investor relations has. And they came up about a year ago, kind of describing what we're doing is that we're a 112-year-old growth company. And I think that's pretty accurate in that we have a long history. There's values, there's culture that goes with that, things that are endearing, that are long-lasting, that serve us well, yet we have more growth opportunities presenting to us than really any other time in our history. But that growth has changed. The opportunities have changed quite a bit in a fairly short amount of time. For the vast majority of our company's history, our growth was building big Nordstrom stores. Our full-line stores started here, and we would find great malls around the country and plop a store at the end of a good mall, and we're off and running. That's certainly not easy. There's a lot of challenge to it, but I would say we got pretty good at that. We opened a lot of stores and knew that playbook pretty well. That's changed fairly dramatically, and I think three main reasons. One, the recession hit, mall development pretty much came to a screeching halt. There's not a lot of need for more malls in this country, so there weren't a lot more opportunities for us to go to. Secondly, we're about full up in the United States for what we do for our full-line stores. Our stores are pretty big. We have a lot of departments. To do all the things we want, we need a certain amount of population in a market. We need at least 750,000 people in a market to support one of our stores. We're pretty close to that. We have 117 full-line stores. We think there's room in this country for about 125. So we have some more coming, and I'll talk about in a bit, but getting pretty close there. The third and probably the biggest is just the customer, the change of the customer, and how the customer lives and shops, and specific for us in our industry, has changed, is changing, and obviously it's the online commerce is the main factor in that. Our categories weren't, I think, the first categories that really lent themselves to the e-commerce, but today it's full on. So that it's forced us to look elsewhere, and really our growth is not so much of us being purposeful about picking a direction we want to go to. It's much more opportunistic. It's always been that way with store locations. We don't build standalone stores. We need a great market, a great project, and it continues to be that way today. But again, those opportunities have changed quite a lot. Let me kind of give you the context of what we're doing. Our company today, we really have 4 businesses that we operate. 2 of them are bricks and mortars, and 2 of them are online. And we often use a little 2x2 quadrant grid to help us kind of talk about it and think about it. And if you think of the top horizontal level being bricks and mortar business, then off price and full price. So we have our Nordstrom stores, full price, bricks and mortar. We have our rack stores, off price, bricks and mortar. We have Nordstrom.com, our e-commerce business at a full price business. And the newest and greenest would be our online off-price business. So I'll touch on those briefly. Our full-line stores, as I mentioned, it's the most mature part of our business, and there's not a lot of locations for us to continue to grow. There are some. The big one we're finally getting to is New York City. Announced that a little over a year ago. It's not till 2018. Takes a long time to build in New York, but that's exciting for us. We have some other stores. The big news for an effort for us next year is we open our first store in Canada, so it'll be our first international effort. So we opened in Calgary, and then follow up successive years with Ottawa, Vancouver, and Toronto. So there is some new store growth there. More our growth in full line stores is coming within our four walls of finding better ways to serve our customers. That could be product opportunities. In the last year, we've partnered with a British company called Topshop, and that's been very good for us, and I think good for them. We're expanding that partnership. But it also includes things of finding ways to serve our customers better, and we've got a long history of service, but service is one of those subjects. It's the race without a finish line. We never achieve perfection, and there's constantly ways to serve customers better. Recently, it's the growth of our personal stylist program has been a big growth driver for us. So that's our full line stores. Our rack stores have been a big area of growth last couple of years. It was about 4 years ago that we felt we had opportunity to grow pretty darn quickly. So we got our rack team together and said, we think we can double the amount of stores we have in 4 years. Go get them. And that's we have a great team at our rack division. Our leader there, our president of our rack division, a guy named Gippy Thomas, who's a pretty remarkable guy. And so last 4 years have gone really well. We have doubled the amount of stores there. Business has been terrific. So of course our response was, do that again, but double it on that bigger base. So we went opening about 15 stores a year to cranking up to getting about 30 stores a year going forward. So we'll double again in the next 4 years. And for our rack stores, I guess we're a little different than some of our competitors that have off-price stores where they like to put them far away from their full-line stores. We like having our rack stores right across the street from our best full-line stores. And probably our best example is here in downtown Seattle. And we have our flagship hometown store. It's our full-line store here is our second biggest volume store out of our 117. And some of you probably remember our rack when it was down on 2nd Avenue. And so we move up to Westlake. And what happens? Well, the rack becomes, it's now our second biggest rack we have. And out of, I think we have 125 racks right now. Our full-line business has actually got better, and that continues to be our second biggest store. So there is a real synergy. There's a synergy with customers. There's synergy with our employees. We like to move people back and forth there. So rack's been a terrific business. All right, so going online, our Nordstrom.com business, it's the fastest growing part of our business, which isn't big news. I think any retailer who has e-commerce business, it's the fastest growth part of their business. We've been growing there each of the last 3 years over 25%. We should hit over 25% this year as well. It's been terrific, a big part of our growth. But it's different, and it's changing quite a bit. Most of our history up until the last couple of years, we really viewed our online business as being a subset of our store business. We viewed it as a bricks and mortar retailer, and really pursuing multi-channel, which would be integrating our online business and our store business, which is terrific. And it's driven a lot of sales, a lot of value, a lot of services we can do for our customers. And when I talk about this, I always kind of pause because it doesn't sound very brilliant how we came to this conclusion. I need to find a better way of explaining this. But we woke up one day, well, it wasn't one day, but wrestling around with it and discovered, there's a difference between pursuing being the best multi-channel retailer and being the best e-commerce retailer you can be. And there were some very specific examples. We'll take selection. I grew up in the shoe business and was a shoe buyer for a while. And a buyer for a retail store is about editing. You go to your best brands, they show you all the stuff they have, and your job is to pick the best from that group. You're always editing down and presenting on your floor your edited selection. Well, online, there's tools that let the customer edit. They would rather edit themselves than have someone like me edit for them. So our selection online, up until a couple years ago, was really reflective of our stores, and it was an edited version. We realized there were places that had much better selection than we did. So we've changed it. We had a lot of selection the last couple of years, so our selection online is much more than any one of our one stores has. Certainly things around speed and convenience. It was about that time we realized we needed to go to free shipping, free returns. So a lot of changes there. And certainly the investments are different as opposed to bricks and mortar. There's a lot of IT investments. We have here in Seattle, our IT organization is over 1,100 people. It's a good time to be in the technology industry. It also forced us to compete, certainly compete for customers on different terms, but to compete for talent too. Historically, our career paths have been like mine. You start on the floor and you become a department manager and a buyer and a store manager and all those steps. We needed some different skill sets. And I think competition always does, competition benefits the customer, it makes the company better. It also makes us be a better employer. We need to compete for talent. And it's not just simply pay. We need to compete for talent by being a great workplace. And so far, knock on wood, that's gone pretty well. We've had a lot of people in our online division, and that growth has been great. The last quadrant, the online off-price, is the greenest of the four. A couple years ago, we bought a company called Outlook, which is a flash sale site. So it takes off-price product in limited quantities, puts it up for 24 hours, and then it's gone. And that's been a terrific business for us. We think there's some opportunity to expand on that and have a perpetual offering, have an off-price offering that's not time sensitive, and also have a website that supports our rack store as we're growing so much there. So lots of opportunities there. Now, so we're in those four businesses, but the real strength to all that is not those four businesses acting independently. The real strength for us and where we need to compete effectively is the synergy between those four businesses. And I think for most of you who know us and know our company, you know our company through a store experience. It's our stores, as much as online is growing. Our reputation as a company is most defined by store experience. It's what most defines our brand. And increasingly, customers shop in ways that, it's however they want to shop. And it's ways that sometimes involves online, sometimes involves stores, and the space in between there. Things like being able to locate merchandise no matter where it is, where the customer is. Buying online, being able to return in the store, even with free returns. The majority of our returns from our online business comes to our stores. People would rather not box it back up. They'd rather just walk in the store and hopefully exchange it. And that's terrific for it. We'd rather have them in our store than pack it up. We know that for as much business is done online, certainly for what we sell, there's more customers who do research online, get inspired online, and then come in the store to buy it. We think there's tremendous opportunity there, tremendous growth there. It's a big change for us, but it is, we have a foundation there that we should be able to leverage. We have stores. It's, when you get into the online space, there's obviously some big retailers, including some big company that's based here in Seattle, who has a lot of resources, after you go through the phases of being scared of the big giants like that, going to, okay, what do we have that is unique? And we are unique in that we play in all those four boxes. We have stores, and how can we take what customers love about online and bring into the store experience? That's included things like online reviews. Customers love online reviews. How do we bring that in the store? We've been experimenting with this, I guess it's a signing technology. It was in our downtown store for a bit. It basically is an Xbox that shines down on a table and has signing on the table. So there's product on the table and signing about that. But when the customer grabs the item, it senses the motion and can bring up things like online reviews. It's an interesting tool, again, to bring that online experience into our stores. We've done things with Pinterest. We found our page on our site on Pinterest is, I believe, the most visited in our industry. How do we bring that online? In our stores, we've experimented with having some signing in stores of what are the most pinned items. So those are our opportunities. And for us, online, while I guess we are old-time bricks and mortar retailers, for us, certainly online is this tremendous tool to use to serve our customers better. And the guide through all this, while it's a time of great change, certainly for us, I guess it's true for every business, is we have to be focused on the customer. It's the customer who needs to be at the center of our world, and as he and she changes, we need to change with the customer. And I also think in times of change, there's kind of two elements of change. You need to embrace the change, and certainly we strive to embrace the change that technology brings to our business. But it seems the faster you change, the more you need to be centered on what your values are, what our culture is. And for us, that certainly includes our long-time culture around customer service, but certainly includes being a great workplace. There is no chance for us to be a great place for customers if we're first not a great place to work. And those are things that we have to focus on even more, and I would include with that also being a good corporate citizen. Those foundational elements, as we change, those are things that need to be our bedrock. So with that, did I go way over? No. Okay, you're making me nervous there. Okay. Do you have time for questions?
Sorry. Can we come back?
All right. I was going to answer all sorts of questions, and I'm relieved I don't have to. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Eric. How many Nordstrom shoes do we have in this room? Come on, come on. Look at the shoe sales. Great. So you started well, Eric. We're happy for that. We had a great program today.
Seattle Rotary Online is made possible in part by a grant from First Choice Health, working with the Washington Health Information Collaborative to use technology to bring better health care to patients throughout the Pacific Northwest. First Choice Health.